Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to be joined by Brigadier Dr. K.J Singh from Army Medical Corps, a wonderful soldier, wonderful human being, and always extra careful how to give better humanity and the human beings on this planet, taking care of everybody the best possible way. I made a special request to him. He is the officiating commandant at present in Chandimandir, which is the medical establishment. And he has been contributing so much, and he has certain specializations. And I requested him, sir, would you be kind enough to tell us that technology, non-resident Indians, medical services, what kind of a future we envisage, and what our brothers and sisters, those have gone out in any form, whether innovation, whether collaboration, whether creativity, whether research, whatsoever joint can take place, that all should be brought. With these words, I extend a very warm welcome to Brigadier Dr. K.J Singh, sir.
Sir. Thank you so much, sir, for the very kind words. And it's an absolute pleasure to be on this forum. I thank all the organizers. And can I start sharing my screen?
Please, sir, please go ahead. And Gurpreet Sebal ma'am from Canada, I have put your views across. Balkishan ji, all the way, I have put your views across. And Induji and Dr. Sonia Singla, Nancy Sangma, Laishram Damini, and of course, 742 people watching this program live from abroad, from the different places. Let's go with the soldier, Brigadier K.J Singh, sir.
Thank you so much. Absolutely honored. And basically, I'll be talking about artificial intelligence. I'll be giving an armed forces medical perspective. What are my thoughts? How do I intend to take it forward in my organization? And as Gulshan sir said, we can extrapolate it to any organization, not only medical in the civil, but any organization. This is the situation of a doctor today, overworked, overwhelmed, and more so in the COVID scenario. This is a very recent photograph from my operation theater.
Sir, your PPT has not opened, sir. Your screen has come. Your main screen has come. You got to click on that AICH 14 Jan, sir, Microsoft PowerPoint. Just click on that, sir.
It's showing as you are sharing.
No, sir. It has to come. It has to come from your side, sir. It has not come here, sir.
It is.
Are you showing the panel, sir? Are you showing the panel only?
No, I'm showing the complete the spread.
No, sir. No, sir. It has not come, sir. Could you be kind enough to just
stop
close
share and do it again?
Yes,
stop
sir.
share
Yes.
And do it again.
Yes, sir. That would be very kind of you,
share
sir.
Screen. I go on to the.
Sir, you go on share screen, and now, yes, now it has come, sir.
Okay. I'll quickly restart.
Please.
Can you see the thing now?
Yes, sir. Artificial intelligence, everything,
yes.
Sir. Yes.
So it's an armed forces medical perspective, which I said is you can easily extrapolate into any medical field or non-medical field as well. So this is the common scenario seen. The doctors are overworked. They are called at odd hours, midnight, and emergencies are there. And in the COVID scenario, you will see that this is a very recent picture, day before yesterday. The team operating on an emergency cesarean in a COVID positive patient, the stress the patient is going through, the healthcare workers, that everything goes off well. They are all, it's difficult. Luckily, the weather is all right, but you can imagine operating in the summer months. Suppose the light goes off, which can go off in India once in a while, and in the PPE suit. So all these challenges are there. So we keep working at the back of mind how to make our system easier for the medical personnel, how to bring in AI. AI has come in such a major way in all the fields, how to help the medical personnel with the artificial intelligence and computing. Now, just to take you a bit back into the history, on 10th of February in 1990s, if you can make out, this is Gary Kasparov, and he lost to Deep Blue, an IBM program. And you know what the initial reaction was? He just couldn't believe that there could be something like artificial intelligence beating a human brain. And he went on to say that the IBM team is kind of cheated him. They have some grandmasters sitting outside who are guiding the program, and then that's how he's lost. Why I'm bringing this is, in the 90s, there was so much of reluctance. People were not ready to accept that the robots, the intelligence can be made use by human beings to enhance the performance in whatever field they are working. So this was an amazing kind of a thing which happened. And there's a movie named after this, the Deep Blue and Kasparov. And I saw this happening myself in the late 90s when open surgery was being replaced by something you must have heard of, laparoscopic surgery or laser surgery, as we call, where we insert a scope into the abdomen or chest and operate. So much of reluctance by very senior surgeons to take this technology. They thought it's a some kind of a gimmick, it's a game which will go off in some time. And now this kind of technology is ruling the world, and we do all kinds of surgery with much better results using this particular technique, laparoscopy. Now, going on to how do we basically artificial intelligence is of three types: an artificial narrow intelligence, super intelligence, and a general intelligence. General intelligence is where it kind of takes over the human intelligence and all those things which we hear that probably will be kind of slaves to the robots and all. That is probably some time away. So even in the medical field, it's not going to happen that the robots are going to take over the entire thing and start operating or dictating things. But let's see what are the core elements of AI and how we can make use of them in our day-to-day life, especially in the medical field. So it involves some things very simple called machine learning, where like we wrote our thing, we wrote a 2 into 2 table or a 3 into 3 table or a 4 into 4 table or something like that, or addition and subtraction. We feed in multiple inputs into the machine, and then it kind of wrote it and immediately produces it much faster than what the human mind can do. The second is called deep learning, where various layers are added to this, and now the machine can kind of analyze from more than just computing like a calculator. It starts analyzing the thing and adding its own knowledge and taking out some result, some meaning out of it. To add to that is the natural language processing and other aspects of AI as we move along. Now, this is the machine learning process. We give multiple inputs to the computer, and then we expect it to take out a particular answer based on those. Very simple. Like if you fed 2 into 2, it will say after the end of the thing that it's 4. And then just like, I don't know whether you can see this particular thing, just like a nerve fiber, it starts analyzing input 1, 2, 3. This is called deep learning, and making sense out of this multiple inputs that are there. And the third is where we keep adding multiple layers. And so the AI system is able to distinguish whether it's a dog or a cat, and at the end, it's able to tell us. Now, this is one of the radiologists working with us. So this machine is going to take his photograph into multiple pixels and try and decide from his eyes, nose, lips, whether he's an Einstein or he's this particular gentleman who's shown on the screen. Now, let's see how we are helped in hospital administration with AI. So the very basic is having EMRs, the medical records. So this is one such screen. This is not from my hospital. I've just borrowed it from somewhere, where the entire history over the past 10, 15, 20 years, what medicines the person is taking, rather than him carrying multiple papers and then he might lose some of them. He's had diabetes, hypertension. There is a prostate problem. The patient has undergone 3 surgeries. Multiple doctors have written multiple medications. So everything is available. The previous procedures, the family history, social history, medical history, the previous lab reports, procedures, everything is available. So on the click of a button, the entire information, neither does the patient need to carry it, nor does the doctor need to kind of memorize it. It's everything is there in front of him, and he can plan the next thing. Then the other thing is using stored data to create treatment designs. So here what we do is, for example, a test has been ordered, the results are available. Now this goes to a technician. The technician calls up the junior doctor. The junior doctor tries to make sense of it. He calls up his senior doctor or pages him or calls him up or sends him by WhatsApp. Then the specialist in his own time sees the thing, and then the whole thing, it is transferred back that what, suppose the urea creatinine is deranged or the liver function is deranged, what action to be taken. Here the system is automatically analyzing, and like you can see in an ECG, sometimes it says that okay, this is the problem that I can see. Similarly, the false results are labeled or highlighted, or they are printed in red. Similarly, the system activates a particular team. For example, the urea creatinine is deranged, the nephrology team will get alerted, and immediately they know there is something wrong with the patient and get back, saving very precious time for a critical patient. Hospital security and infection control. Now, this is the routine thing. There are a lot of cameras looking at various aspects of ICU or wherever there's patients are there or patient care areas. But this is one step ahead, where these are especially very relevant in the COVID scenario, where there are thermal screeners, very sensitive thermal screeners, who can sense patients who are hyperthermic or have temperature. And the guard over there can check these patients. They may be carrying COVID or they may be having a problem. So routine visitors who are coming can be checked like this. Of course, patient may have a COVID and he can, or infection, he may be febrile, he can say that I am a patient, but visitors can be checked in this way in a very efficient manner. Telemedicine. This happened just 2 days back. A surgical team of ours operating in Leh, which is a high altitude area, about 12,000 feet, 12,000 feet above sea level. And they found that this particular patient in high altitude, what we see is some of our soldiers, they get gangrene because of low oxygen and very hypercoagulable kind of state. And they found that the intestine was gangrenous. They immediately gave me a WhatsApp call on a video, and I told them this is not looking healthy. This is the part that you have to remove and join it or bring it out as a stoma, and we'll have a relook. So it's a very simple kind of a AI, artificial intelligence, in the sense that they've been able to transmit a video directly to me on a WhatsApp call, and I've been able to share my expertise of say 20, 25 years, 30 years, and help the patient in recovery. This is another Sehat OPD. With the increasing COVID times, where we don't encourage too many patients to come to the OPDs, we encourage them to take OPD appointments on this Sehat OPD. And this is also proving to be a big success. They take appointments and we guide them on this thing. Going on to a few more specifics like pathology, where we see slides and report on specimen. So are we going to see that a pathologist is going to be replaced by a robo? Let's see. So I'll go on to the introduction, the workflow in a artificial intelligence enhanced lab, applications, the challenges, and the key challenges in the armed forces. So this is the conventional technique. This is a specimen of a kidney. There is a suspected tumor, and the pathologist has taken the specimen, is going to gross it. He's going to cut it into multiple pieces using this machine, and then he'll put it under a microscope and see whether there is tumor or not. In an AI, this entire thing is done by the machine. He just has to put the specimen there. It is grossed, processing, made into slides or paraffin boxes, and the machine is going to study this. So this is how the slide is ready, and this artificial intelligence is going to study using this microscope, and the result is ready using various the data that we've already filled. We've learned. For this, what is most important is we required something called labeled data. The software or the artificial intelligence or the computer needs to know what is right and what is wrong. This is where the main crux is, or we need to put in more hard work. So what is labeled data? For example, this is a slide of a blood sample. So there are, as you know, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. Platelets, you know, they go down in dengue fever and all. So initially we have to feed the system and tell them, okay, this is a red blood cell, this is a white blood cell, this is a platelet. And you have to feed it to him thousands of times and then check whether it's able to give us the right answer or not. Similarly, if you want the computer to tell you whether these are malignant cells or not, you have to label them like this and tell us, okay, this red triangle is a malignant cell and this blue triangle is not a malignant or a cancerous cell. Only then can you expect the computer to tell back when you feed a specimen to it whether it's a malignancy or not. So writing the computer algorithms, a large amount of labeled data or a training set has to be presented to the computer, train the computer, and then validate by giving them fresh sample and seeing, because a wrong report, it is human life and that is not acceptable at all. So we've tried it in a cervical cancer, which is very common in India. And in each glass slide, I can tell you there are some 20,000 cells. So each one, the AI is going to quickly sift through and say, count the number of cells and then tell us whether they are atypical or abnormal cells amongst these thousands of normal cells. A pathologist going through these 20,000 epithelial cells is going to take 2 hours, 3 hours, which the AI does in a matter of few minutes. Then it has got very important genomic applications. I'll not go into the details for that. What are the challenges? Sometimes there are two cells which may look alike and only the human mind can say. For example, if we send a specimen for platelet count, the lab says it is 20,000 only as against 1.5 lakhs. But when the human sees it, he says, no, it is 50,000. This is because some similar looking cells are mistaken for by the AI, and it says, no, this does not look like a platelet. But the human eye, with this intelligence and the affiliation and various cognitive functions getting together, know that, okay, this is also a platelet. Similarly, in diagnosing malignancy, we see at infiltration in a few places. This is very difficult for AI or a computer to sometimes make out. And this has got a very important legal implication. A computer giving something as cancerous, which is not, or vice versa. So key challenges are this lack of labeled data sets. If we can share data sets from all across the world, the system will become much easier. We can share our information with others, and then a ready-made data set is available to the computer to say that, okay, this is a WBC, this is an RBC, this is a cancerous cell, so on and so forth. Then there are some cybersecurity based issues. IT support should be there, very strong. And onus of errors and litigation, especially with relation to cancers or wrong reports. Can we send a computer to jail? Possibly no. Some human element has to be there to take on the errors of the litigation. Can AI replace a pathologist? No, they'll not be replaced anytime soon. But pathologists who use AI will replace pathologists who do not. There are numerous companies in India and the world over who are working for AI in pathology, and we are making use of some of them. Going into radiology, just I'll quickly go through this thing. So this is he's the godfather of neural networks, and he stated that we should stop training radiologists in the next 5 or 10 years. We'll probably not require, and this is the kind of radiologists we'll have, because the AI will kind of start reading all the X-rays, CT scans, and ultrasounds. Is it going to happen? Let's see. So this is one study recently in 2018 by a deep learning system. And 1.2 million X-rays were given to them for reporting. They were given both to radiologists and to this machine. And they were to comment on all these features: opacity, cavity, consolidation. For example, in this X-ray, you can see something like tuberculosis. There's a cavitation in the chest X-ray along with opacity. The average time taken by radiologists to label these 420 X-rays was ranged between 180 and 300 minutes, while the deep learning labeled it in 1.5 minutes. So many X-rays it sifted through and commented on all these things in 1.5 minutes. And then put it up to the radiologist. Okay, this is what I feel is wrong with this. You have a look and do the final signature. Similarly, in CT scans, they kind of mark the bleed. This is a brain scan, and while the larger bleeds can be made out, the very smaller bleeds are picked up much better by computers. They color code it, they give the density, and they help the doctors in quickly assessing and giving it to the neurosurgeon whether surgery is required or not. Again, the barriers are ethical issues, profit-motivated AI, certification of the system, and difficulty in regulatory clearance, including the legal challenges. Coming on to surgery, which is my field. So this is surgery has not really made too much inroads. We are still at a master slave. So this is a Da Vinci robo on which I'm operating. what happens is whatever I do, the slave, the robo is the slave. It's going to replicate. It's not going to take a step on its own. There is bleeding. It's not going to control it. It's not going to decide, okay, I need to take out this extra margin. It may have tumor. So far, the robotics and surgery, it's at a master-slave complex. This is a Lindbergh operation done in 2001, where a surgeon sitting in New York operated on a patient in Strasbourg in Europe. So the robo operated on the patient and it replicated whatever the surgeon did in New York. So we are making advances, but still AI in surgery is not at a stage where it can take independent decisions. However, we can incorporate our imaging. So we've seen a CT image, we can incorporate it during the OT onto the patient and see, okay, I saw this narrowing there, the tumor is here. So the imaging is brought right onto the patient and we start operating on the patient with that MRI or CT or real-time view, as you can see in this particular image. Coming to the last part of my presentation, human intelligence has come over millions of years. Is AI ready to take over that in just a few years' time, or is there a missing link? So while AI is good at mathematical problems, computing, numbers, master-slave relation, as I said, the cognitive functions like thinking, decision-making, problem-solving, care, compassion, concern, empathy, which is required in medicine to a great extent, is still missing in AI. So that is what that's very far away. I don't know whether care, compassion, concern, empathy will ever come into robots or AI, but we should not miss out on the advantages without losing out on this human aspect. We should not miss out on the advantage. And the final thing which I want to say is that in the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. As I showed you in the 90s, there was so much of resistance in taking in new things and improving the system to help the doctors or anybody else. So let us embrace this new technology. Let us share whatever we are doing and help the medical health, doctors, patients, and all other fields extrapolated to other fields for the benefit of everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We become more humble. In such a short, crisp, quick, you have given so much, so much. And finally, you touched the Alvin Toffler as well. Future Shocks, 1973, first edition, and thereafter a number of other books coming up, including education and other parts, something amazing, amazing. And key challenges, IT support, and challenge profit-motivated AI, artificial intelligence, and then relationship, human intelligence and artificial intelligence, and where is the missing link, and how I think so rightly said, the care, the compassion, the concern, and the empathy. Wow.
A lot of our young doctors, I see that human touch missing. The patient comes and they ask for a CT scan there. So I tell them that we can cure very few people. Diabetes, hypertension, we are not curing, we are just treating them, but we can satisfy a lot of them. And the ghosts of dead men do not ask why the latest investigation was not done on me. They ask you why I wasn't examined properly. Why was this missed out on me? So that care, compassion should never go away in trying to embrace AI.
Wow. Curing or treating. What a words you have taken. Very choosy. Sir, I mean to say, you have touched the humanity so deeply, and you have touched so much. As a soldier, I can feel, and right from my heart, all my brothers and sisters, those are watching this program globally from the different countries and the different parts, we salute Brigadier Dr. K.J. Singh sir's efforts, and we look forward to many more such kind of interactions. And how can we bring technology for basically to serve the humanity the best possible way? Because ultimately we got to understand what is the purpose of education, what is the purpose of skill, where are we, why are we acquiring, and where are we going, and what do we need? And so nicely, sir, the key word you have told, are we curing or are we treating? Oh, what a word, both the words one has to understand. And of course, empathy is ultimate, which we all have to take care of it. If you are empathetic, if you are nice to me, I think 90% I feel all right with your behavior, with your how, what gesture you are giving to me. And the moment doctor spends a little time, uh, wonderful, sir, wonderful, amazing. And we would love to work very closely, and all my brothers and sisters, because medical science, healthcare, and artificial intelligence and technology, all that we have to bring together, and we all have to work together, and we have to make it a better and a bright tomorrow and a peaceful tomorrow for everybody. Thank you, sir.